PerkyPlanes and RC here, operating at 2.4 gigahertz, and going to be going back to work on this Tower Hobbies Uproar build. Today's focus is going to be the vertical stabilizer slash fin and the rudder, the other part of the tail section. So I'm going to work on getting that framing kind of put in place and do all that good stuff. Cliff and Chuck, as you can see, I've got my good old trusty blocks there. I've seen them labeled as 1, 2, 3 blocks, and I've heard 3, 2, 1 blocks, or 3-in-1 blocks. So whatever they're called, got me a good batch of them there. So, and right now I'm using them honestly to keep the plans here from curling up on me. So they're kind of keeping things in place. So anyways, I'm going to start cutting out some of the framing here for the fin and the rudder. We also have some gussets here as well for parts of the rudder and the fin, as well as some cross bracing here too. So we're going to try and get at least most of that done in this video. So let's get started. Going to start off here and cut some of the larger pieces. As you can see, I've got my trusty mat out this time so I don't cut into the plans. I actually accidentally did that. All right, this piece here, haven't really went over that yet, but this piece here is actually a little different than some of the other pieces of balsa I've been working on. This here is 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch. That cuts pretty good, so. Probably shaking the camera there a little bit. Oh, that came right through. Perfect. Alright, so there's that right there. And actually that piece right there goes on the rear edge of the rudder itself. Let me cut one here on the fin side. Actually, as I'm finding out, my good old trusty hobby saw, at least on this balsa here, doesn't really, I mean, it does okay, but I don't really have to use it because the Xacto Knife cuts through it really easily. So I guess it just depends on the wood. I realized I just put the saw on my mat there. That's a good saw, I guess, huh? Look at that balsa dust fly. Got a little bit of a gap right there. I'm going to have to fill that in here a little bit later. But right now that should be good enough to go ahead and glue it in. Had to soften just a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Okay, just kind of working ahead here a little bit. I didn't get the last part of the that part glued in. I'm working on the gussets right now. Here's my little sample paper template. I've got from what I've figured up from looking at the fin, vertical stabilizer, and the rudder, there are 3 of these that are basically a 90-degree triangle. So I've got these 2 cut right here. About to work on the 3rd one. The 2 here at the bottom of the rudder have a slight angle to them, so those ought to be done separately. But I'm going to go ahead and cut these and at least have the one for the rudder in place. And then once I do that, then I'm going to work on doing the bracing on the fin. So that should finalize the fin, except for just some general last-minute shaping and things like that. So anyways, let's get this third gusset cut here. This is actually cutting pretty easily too, so I may not use the saw on this one. I'll be honest with you, I like using the saw because it creates dust, and I like that dust. I can use it for filler and stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to need to cut it or use the saw. See, I got me a nice little groove cut there. Yeah, there it went. Okay, so there's 3 of the 90-degree gussets that are cut. I'm going to go ahead and glue 2 of those in place. So let's do that. So I've been going back and forth on the various glues that I have. Now this is the this is actually official Loctite super glue. I like it. It does a good job. I like it because it's a gel, so it's not. It doesn't instantly run. So it gives me some time to sort of, you know, it doesn't immediately run down the thing and make a mess. It kind of stays in place while I'm gluing. So I guess I do like the gels a little bit. But I will say this much too, I'm also a big fan of the Bob Smith stuff. So Bob Smith glues, I also use those as well. And here recently I did buy some accelerator, but use Bob Smith accelerator as well. But from past experience, and it's been a long time since I've really kind of heavily done this. I remember using it, and I don't know, just I wasn't a huge fan, but I've got it there just in case. I mean, I personally don't care to, you know, I guess you can say it's, I'm not in that much of a hurry. I mean, CA sets really fast anyways, so I don't understand why there's so much of a need for accelerator, I guess. I don't know. I'm okay without it, but like I said, I've got it there in case I really need to. Never hurts to be prepared. Hey, I'm sticking. I should do like a montage, or do a collection of the various times that I've been stuck to my model, or today's episode of what am I going to get stuck to today. I will say this is one benefit, or one thing that maybe is slightly better when working with balsa stuff. So previously, when I worked with flight test models, like I said, the glue was hot glue, and in those instances, you had to worry more about burning yourself, more so than getting stuck to whatever you're working on. So yeah, I think I'm starting to think I might honestly prefer getting slightly stuck to something rather than burning myself. And luckily, believe it or not, I really didn't have a whole lot of instances where I burned myself with the hot glue. But it would happen every once in a great while. Okay, those two gussets are in place. I'm going to start working on the internal bracing for the fin here, and then that'll kind of wrap that up, and then we can start working on the rudder. I apologize if the camera angle sort of shifts a little bit. Whenever I flip my camera back on my phone, that's what I'm using, then it immediately goes to portrait mode. So I have to kind of flip the camera back around to get it, to reorient it, and then flip it back to go back to landscape. So if you notice the camera angle moves just ever so slightly, then that's what's going on. And I'm trying to get it in the same place, but doing the best I can. Okay, I got those two pieces of the bracing put in, and now about to put the final piece in. It's going to go sort of like that. So let me go ahead and get it. I may need to sand a little bit to kind of get it to wedge in place there. So let me check the fit. Yeah, it's going to need to be sanded some. So I'll tell you, when working with this, you sort of realize, and when you're looking at the plans and everything, it's like you realize that not everything is like straight 9 degrees all the time. You learn that it's good to kind of cut a little bit of an angle in it like that to help it kind of fit into place. So you kind of, as you're working, you sort of learn little stuff like that. So that's a real good snug fit there. Let me go ahead and glue that. I think my Loctite's about run out. I think that's going to be a really good hold, or good bond and hold there. All right, well, there's the fin. Fin is complete, aside from just some, last minute cleanup, filling some holes, do some, last minute shaping and things like that. So the fin is done. I'd already kind of pre-cut this part for the rudder. Kind of got mocked up here a little bit. So I've got that gusset ready to be glued in as well. And then of course I got to do the final framing of the rudder. So let me get to cutting some more pieces here, and we'll get that put together. All right, just started on the some of the rudder framing here. I had to go retrieve some more material because the little pieces that I had, I ran out. So, kind of give me some more of the, let's see here, of the 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch, which is the main framing around, as well as some more cross bracing sticks, which is the 1/4 inch by 3/16. So had to get some more of that stuff. If you've hung in here this long, I'd like to make a recommendation to you. If you guys are enjoying this balsa build stuff, please check out my buddy Chuck's channel, Texas Travelers RC. I'll put a link there on the screen for you. He's currently working on a Midwest Aerostar 60 balsa build as well. Basically, kind of looks like a trainer style airplane. So he's been grinding away at that. So feel free to go over on his channel and check out his build series on that too. And he's moving along pretty good with it. He just, from what I've kind of caught up with it, he's up to the doing most of the wing construction right now. I must say, I went into this like with the mentality of thinking that these things had to be as perfect and precise as possible and all this kind of stuff. But really, honestly, I mean, it's kind of forgiving. You know, you can actually kind of, I mean, you still need to try your best to get it as best as you can, but you can kind of, there's some forgiving out of it too. You can, for pieces that you kind of mess up on, you've got wood filler, wood glue and stuff to kind of, and here's some filler here, like for example, and you can kind of go back in and clean up things later if it doesn't quite work out. So, so you got wood filler, you got wood glue, of course you can sand things to kind of get stuff kind of perfected, but so that's why I think originally I just kind of thought like, oh gosh, I got to make these things as perfect and precise as possible. And, yeah, you've got to make sure that you're, in the end, that your tail section and wings are true and squared and everything. You got that to worry about. But, this stuff right here, as I'm finding out, it's best effort. And then, like I said, I can always go in and clean up things later. And the stuff sands so easy. I mean, gosh. I don't think I get much better than that, but otherwise I'll be sanding here for days. Actually, I will say this. I just was thinking there, like I'm working on these other gussets, and it's like, hey, these guys aren't 90 degrees. What can I use to maybe help me get the correct angles on these? So, I broke out this thing right here. This is an old, I think I mainly bought this for control surfaces and calculating the right angle that a control surface needs to move, if it's 10 degrees, 15 degrees, so on. So I had this guy out here, and I was like, I might just try this for these gussets and see if we can get them kind of cut to the right angle and stuff. And so I think that's what we're going to do. I've got it tightened down. I'm going to go ahead and cut my template, and we'll see how that does. Alright, I'm back here. So I got the template cut, sort of, right there. The paper template, that is. And then here is the actual wood template itself. I'm not sure if the other one is the same angle. I don't think it is. No, actually it is. But I got her to basically, I went ahead and cut it 2 sides. I had to do a little bit of sanding on it, but it wasn't terrible. I'm going to go, since that one actually applies for both sides here, I'm going to go ahead and cut another template of this, and that way I can pop it in place. Alright, got the other piece cut. We're going to start gluing these guys in place. I think the balsa dust is making my fingers slick. I forgot to mention too, Chuck's channel, the Texas Traveler RC. He is relatively very new to YouTube, so please go over and give him some love. Currently, he's got, I think, 6 subscribers, so go check his channel out if you guys want to see some more balsa building stuff. Okay, so all I've got left here is just the cross bracing, and this has a very interesting cross bracing pattern. It goes this way, then it goes back this way, and then it comes down here to this gusset here. So really interesting kind of cross bracing it's got, but 'tis important for structural purposes. So let me get cutting those pieces and we'll get those in. All right, bringing you back here on the last final pieces of this. As you can see, I've already got the those 2 braces in, working on this one right here, and I'm switching to the Bob Smith glue, just because I think my Loctite is probably done for, which is that's completely okay. Well, that is it on the actual framing of the fin, vertical stabilizer, and the rudder. So there's 2 pieces kind of mocked up there, as you can see. There is, of course, as I kind of mentioned, like with the elevator as well, there's little touch-ups and finishings that I need to do to them, as well as cutting my hinge line as well on the rudder. Or actually, well, hinge, cutting the actual, hinge line, I guess you could say. So, yeah, I got that stuff to do. There's also some section, or a thing here, too, about cutting a thing here for the tail arm, or for the tail wheel. So, little things like that, but just wanted to kind of get the actual shaping and cross bracing and all that kind of stuff in place. So I'm gonna call that good for right now with the rudder. I'll keep providing updates as I get to them. And but anyways, that is all from me, guys, on this video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Look at all this balsa dust down here.